All right, so we're back. And so in our previous video, we talked about why we live by rivers, how floods can occur, recovering from floods, and then actions we can take to manage floods, right? So now I'm really excited. We're going to talk about levees a little bit more. And remember, levees are one of the many possible actions we can take to manage floods. So remember from our last video what levees do. So levees actually, if you have a levee in here, levee's actually going to hold the water on this side, and as the river comes up, it'll hold the water, and then it'll hold it and reduce the chance of all these people flooding. And so it'll hold it all the way until the top and until it overtops, and so it reduces that chance. And so we're going to talk about the different kinds of levees now. So one of the types of levees, most levees are made out of the earth or of soils, and they sort of look like this, if you can see this. Yep, there we go. And so levees all, this is all earth and soil, and so the levee sort of looks like this section. So that levee would go right all the way across here with earth and levee. So that's one type. Most levees, like I said, are made out of that. And then sometimes we have levees called flood walls. And those are actually steel walls like this. If this was, imagine this was steel, the steel wall would go in here and hold back the water and keep it on the riverside. All right, so now we want to talk about where we would place the levee. So if we place the levee along the river here, some of the things we have to think about is that'll actually hold the water in the river, right? Cause it to go up, and actually causes it to go higher than it would have before, because otherwise that water could have flowed in here. So that water will be a little bit higher here, and it could impact people, flow out and impact other people. So to think about how that can impact and how do we manage that. So one of the things we could do is set this levee back a little further, give more space in here, or we could do some of those other management things to help reduce or manage impacts. And some of that is, remove some of that debris from the channel, maybe put some storage and wetlands, ponds upstream. So those are some of the things that we could do to manage, and it takes everybody working in the watershed together to help out the town and to help out the people, all the people in the watershed. So the other thing we need to think about if we place a levee in here is that we'd actually have to move some of these houses, right? So we'd have to work with these house owners to help them move and to help them so they can find a new place to live, and even help them because it's impacting their lives, so even help them out a little bit more. You always have to think about how you're impacting other people, and here even the wetland, that you can maybe build wetlands up in the watershed that would help replace that too. So things to consider too. And the other thing we want to talk about is, do you think we could ever get a levee that's high enough so it would never, the water would never come over and overtop? And that's really hard to do. So I actually don't even know of a levee that could never overtop. So the thing we always want to consider is taking care of our levees, and we'll talk more about that later, but taking care of them and always knowing that they could possibly overtop at some point, but would really reduce the chances of that happening, and that's and how frequent it would happen. So that really helps people out.